Hola, I have a book review. Funny story, I have the paper book, but I don't have the paper book back. Is that what I said, paper book? Oh my goodness, I'm tired. It's been a long day. Here we go. So I read Shadowblood by Eva Chase. I was super excited to read it because it looked right up my alley. Also, I don't read summaries because then I can guess where the story's gonna go. So I got the entire series in paperback, and I think I got them right as they came out. Like I was so excited. I was like, oh, I'm gonna read these, and then I never got around to it because I was busy doing other things. But I finally got around to reading it. Let me read you the summary. It's on my screen. So, un momento. I'm kind of almost wanting to be dramatic. We vowed to escape together. I broke that promise. Now the men I love just might break me. It wasn't her fault. There were 6 of us caged, turned into monsters, and tormented with brutal tests of our horrific emerging abilities. We only had each other to count on, until our escape attempt ended with one dead, the others recaptured, and me dragged away to a different nightmare. Now I finally fought my way back to rescue them, except the men I set free are hardened, beastly versions of the devoted boys I remember. They see me as a traitor and a murderer, but they refuse to let me go now that they have me back. They have no idea the greatest threat may be the new darkness that's woken up inside me. I don't know how to control it, and if these men break me, I could destroy us all. I gave this 3.5 stars. I don't give out a lot of 3 stars. 3 stars to me, it's like, it's in the middle, it's okay. I don't care either way. 4 stars, it's like, I liked it. 5 stars is I loved it. 1,000,000 stars is, it is one of my favorite books now. This is 3.5. 3.5 because it didn't live up to what I wanted it to be. I have some complaints and I don't like spice, but anyway, it wasn't enough for me, I guess. So let me start. There are, first off, okay, starts off right out the bat, they're breaking out. She watches one of them die and gets dragged away. The 4 remaining guys, and I should say they're all like bonded by this experience and by this deeper connection that's like more paranormal than anything. It's more supernatural connection. Like they can't be without one another and they are very, very attracted to one another. As in all of them attracted to the girl, not like each other. Anyway, that out of the way. She gets taken and pretty much is stuck in this cage to fight people all the time. Which I was like, okay. Because I was like, ooh, one of the biggest reasons I picked up these books is because it reminded me of my own books when Dead Men Bleed, whenever they have the claws out. I was like, oh, and the ichor, and I was like, wow, that's my Mikey, that's my Zeke. It wasn't. Anyway, she was fighting these people against her will, whatnot, whatever. And then she blacks out and everyone's dead. And then she breaks out right whenever her boys are planning a breakout of their own. To me, that felt a little repetitive, but you know. Also, having so many characters off the bat, 5 characters, without getting to know each one of them beforehand, it made me mix up which guys were which. Especially because they're all broody and all fawning all over her at every moment. And she's fawning all over them at every moment. It's a reverse harem. Probably should have started with that. Anyway, they're all like, we hate you. And we're gonna punish you because you left without us and you betrayed us. Even though the Guardians, I think the Guardians, those are like the guys that tortured them and guarded their cells. Anyway, they tricked all the guys into thinking that she betrayed them. These boys are so mean to her in the beginning. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's okay. I'm gonna prove to them that everything's okay and that I didn't do it on purpose. So I'm gonna stay stoic and I'm gonna take it like a champ. And I'm like, whoa now. No one should be treated that way. And those thoughts of mine are even reflected later in the book whenever a girl, she's like, if you ever need anyone to talk to, I'm here. Please, if you need help, I will help you. Riva, the main character, she's like, oh no, I'm not in any trouble. It's okay. I'm not with any of them, whatever. Because the girl's like, I know what it's like to be in an abusive relationship. And she's like, still, no one should treat you that way. And I'm like, yes, girl. She's right. No one should treat you like this. Girl with spine. Besides that little factor of them being so mean to her, like literally they had her poisoned on purpose and they kept healing her just enough to where the poison wouldn't kill her daily. And then whenever she finally does, they finally are like, oh my gosh, I believe you. It's because she threw herself in front of a train so that she wouldn't destroy them because she was about to lose it and black out again. And then they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, we should have believed it. Yeah, the frick you should have. What the crud? No one should be treated that way. No one should be treated that way. And the fact that she didn't stand up for herself, no one stood up for her, not even any of the guys that were even like, oh, well, maybe we should have believed you. Yeah. Yeah, they were always saying, we're blood. they didn't treat her like that. I know that they felt like she betrayed them, but it hurts. And honestly, they didn't even capture my attention until about 70% in. After the spicy stuff, I don't like that stuff. If that's what you read, whatever, I don't care. I just don't like it. That being said, it was easy enough to like skim over, but it got really good toward the end, and I loved the lore. I loved them meeting their creator, all that. It was interesting, and it was cool to learn about that. You didn't learn a ton, which I wish we would have, but we don't learn a ton. But it's still really cool, and there are 5 books in the series, so we're gonna learn a lot more. The way it's written is great. I love the writer's voice. I love Eva Chase's voice. Her dialogue is really natural, and she's really good at expressing tough emotions and describing them. So I appreciate that. I just didn't like the fact that these guys were all like, no, we hate you. And she was like, no, it's okay, you'll love me again. I know it. I just have to prove myself to you. And they're all like, oh my gosh, we're gonna take you to the brink of death until we know that you're not safe. Even if the roles were reversed, even if it was 4 girls and 1 guy, and they're doing that to that 1 guy, I would still feel this way. No one should be treated that way. I've been going on 10 minutes about that. 3-point backstories. I've started the 2nd book, hoping it gets better, learning a lot more. Yeah, I don't know. That's my review of Shattered Vow. And I hope you stay tuned for the 2nd book, because I'm working through it. After I do this series, I plan on moving on to more Curie Taylor books, because I love her books. And they're clean romance. So, yeah. The book's name is Shattered Vow. It's by Eva Chase. If that is something that you're interested in, just because I wasn't super into it doesn't mean you won't be. There are a smattering of 5-star reviews and 1-star and 2-star and all that. So if that's really what you're interested, go ahead and check it out. Wet hair, don't care. All love. Back with the book review. I've come to the realization, don't really like harems. That is all. Not of the review, but all I've come to realize. I also, forewarning, I do not like smut. I do not like that kind of content, Sam I am. Now I know what you're saying. Why would you read books with it in it if you don't like it? Well, because I don't know what's in it until it happens and I'm like, oh, we're doing this. Cool. All right. This book has 3. Which book am I talking about? Monster's Power, the 2nd book in the Shadowblood Souls series by Eva Chase. Here's the summary. The truth has come to light, but can I ever trust my men again? After weeks of cruel hostility, the guys I swore to save know how wrong they were, at least about what I did for 4 years ago. Now that they've seen my horrifying new power, will they decide I'm an enemy after all? With what they put me through, I'm not sure I even want to stick with them. These brutal men aren't the boys I fell in love with anymore. But nothing matters more than learning how to control my own vicious urges, so I'll accept a tentative truce while we hunt down more answers by turning into the very monster our creator feared most. I did a review on Shattered Vow before this one, and I gave it a 3.5. This one, I will give a tentative 3. So let's start with the good. I really, really do like Eva Chase's style. I like the way she writes. I really like the combat. I like the short paragraphs, the short chapters. I do enjoy the depth of the characters that she delves into and their thoughts on certain things, and I do like seeing multiple point of views. That's really cool. But the biggest is an actual booty head. I don't like Jacob. Now I know in the last one I was talking about there were too many people get mixed up. Now I've got more of a grasp now than in the 2nd book. I kind of know who's who and who she's done stuff with. Even when skimming, it just kind of, I don't like Jacob at all. I have it from the 1st book. Kind of don't mind if he dies, because so in the 1st one he instructed them to keep her poisoned, and they kept her on the brink of, between life and death, to have her prove that, she's not betraying them, and that's all him. Then he goes all sad boy on us. Not like cute, shy, sad boy that I actually like, but sad boy as in he goes so far to completely massacre people that were shooting at her. Granted, they are hunting them down and trying to kill them too. However, he cuts off all their hands and brings them to her, and he's like, oh, I feel like I should be grossed out, but it's really sweet that he did. No, it's not. It's kind of insane. And he's like, my hands hurt you too, I don't deserve it. And then started trying to cut through his own hand. I'm all for a broody character, but that's the equivalent of, if you don't love me, I'm gonna hurt myself. First one, I had a problem with how she was treated. It's mainly by Jacob, but it's on all of the guys' shoulders. And it's on her for staying. I would have left. I would have so hightailed it out of there, never looked back. I know she has some kind of bond with them, but oh my gosh, none of them deserve her. That's saying something, because normally books like these, the main character is insufferable. I really like Reva. I like who she is and how she's portrayed and all that. I really, really like her character. None of these guys deserve her. This isn't like the Hunger Games where everyone's like, oh, she didn't deserve either Gale or Peeta. No. They don't deserve her. She is great. They are insufferable. Okay, they get better throughout the book, but specifically Jacob. It's like, oh my gosh. Whenever he did that, I was like, oh. And then I feel like the last moment between them bonding and stuff, it was forced. It felt very forced to be like, to cover up everything that happened in the first book. And it's like, oh look, he's actually a good guy, it's okay. And I'm just like, no. Girl. No. That's extremely, like, deadly toxic. Literally. And he is the one that poisoned her. Yeah, it's his poison, now that I think about it, because now I'm caught up with their stuff. Oh my gosh. That is the biggest issue I have with this book. Also, they kind of just get handed everything throughout the first 2 books. I don't know. I know that people are chasing them, trying to kill them, but I feel like the allies that they make kind of just hand things to them. But, you know, other than that, I really liked the lore. I liked them delving into the shadow creatures and meeting the new characters. The ending, I do like the ending. I think it's interesting, and it does make me go, who dat? What's this? Except the fact it sounds like a spoiler. I did like the ending. I appreciate the ending. I really enjoyed it. And I have mixed feelings about starting the 3rd book, because I'm gonna get through the series. I'm gonna read this whole series. Unless something extremely happens that I'm like, no, I cannot read anymore. Boys, girls, do not treat other people the way that Jacob treats Reva. Pretty please, I beg of you, do not treat people that way. Moving on. The good aspects of the book, I've already said them. Eva Chase is a really great writer. I do enjoy her writing style. One more thing. Another thing I don't like about Harems is she's like, I love all of you. I'm not into that. Morning. It's morning for me anyway. You know what time it is. Time for another book review. This time it's Recaptured Fate by Eva Chase. That is the 3rd book in the Shadowblood Souls series. Let me read you the summary. Let me facing this way. Is this captivity or a second chance? My men and I lost our bid for freedom, but nothing in our new prison is quite what I expected. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop fighting. I just have to make sure I pick the right battles, especially when it isn't just our lives, but those of the kids who came after us on the line. If I'm going to be more than a monster, I need to figure out who the real monsters are and take back everything they've stolen from us before it's too late. I gave this one a 2.5. Why? The book is quite repetitive. They get captured, break free, long enough to do the dirty, get captured again, break free, long enough to do the dirty, and then captured again by a new force at the end of the book. It is repetitive. I still do not like Jacob. I will not forget what he did. That is not at all good. And him being forgiven so quickly is not good either. You get to see Griffin, who had died in the first book. He's back. I do like his character. Zian, who I've been saying his name wrong, I think. I've been saying Zion. Zian is, I think, my favorite because he is so terrified of hurting her that he does his best to even just stay away from her. And then there's spicy scenes. I do love the way Eva Chase writes. I just do not like this story currently. I started the 4th book, and let me tell you, I'm sick and tired of children dying for no reason. I'm sick and tired of people that they're supposed to care about dying for no reason, just to get a reaction, I guess, out of the reader. It's, I don't know. I know I've had side characters die in my own books, but something about this just feels like careless. Like, it's like, oh, guess what? This person's dying now. And it's like, why? I don't know. It's a nitpicky thing, but I don't know. This is my least favorite book of the series. I got so bored halfway through, and the boredom just kept through the entire rest of the book. And I was like, I don't even want to read the next book, but I'm going to because I'm making myself. That's it. That's all I have to say about the book. It's not even a long review. Oh, the lore. I do enjoy the lore, but it's like, it was all forgotten for this book. I don't know. Oh, and they have like a new bad guy that's controlling them that they don't like. But honestly, he's better than what they had. And he was going to help them, although for his own reasons. He was going to help them grow their powers and learn them, or learn more about them. You reminded me of Chase Graves from my zombie. I don't think the guy was that bad. He was trying to help the world, yeah, for a price, but he was trying to help the world. He was getting rid of people that were doing child trafficking stuff, and you know, I do like the idea of them using their abilities to make the world better, but you know, it just seems repetitive. There's this new bad guy that captures them, and they're supposed to be like super powerful, but they keep getting captured. I understand that the other people have guns, but that just means that they need to start getting strapped or getting clapped with their abilities, and if they have guns, or they need to learn how to use ranged, like they need to figure out what they can do with their abilities that allow them to be ranged weapons instead of just melee. Ugh, I don't know. I didn't enjoy this. I look tired because I am. On to the fourth one. Thanks for watching. Links in the description if this series is something that you're interested in. Links in the description. If not, then you can just watch my reviews. I'm disappointed in this series, but you know, that's what it is. So this is book 4 of the Shadowblood Souls series. I know you know, I didn't like last book. I have not enjoyed this series, and the trend continues. Here's the summary of Heartless Foe by Eva Chase. I thought we'd face the worst possible horrors already. I was wrong. My men and I have fought the guardians who held us captive for so long, refused to let them harness their powers yet again. But there's another villain lurking in the shadows, one who doesn't even pretend to care about anyone's interest other than its own. So the series has gotten super repetitive. They're supposed to be super strong, but they keep getting captured at each turn. And they act like they're damsels in distresses when they have these incredible abilities that they're learning to harness. I don't know. I feel like the second, third, and fourth book should have been meshed into one, and a lot should be changed. Like, instead of the first book being like, they break out, they get captured, they break out again. Maybe it should have been they try to break out, they can't. She gets taken away as to be punished. She gets separated them for years, and then she's reintroduced back into the group because they're trying some weird experiment thing, or the guys aren't making any progress because she's not around, kind of thing. And then from there, they learn and hone and work through the differences, and then they escape. Once they're like, oh yeah, you're fine. I'm not mad at you anymore. And fix all of Jacob. Just fix all of Jacob. That's what I would do. And instead of actually succeeding in their escapage, these guardians, they have tools and abilities that actually nullify the group's abilities, or they are able to take them down, not as easily, but they're able to subdue them or trap them or trick them. Or this new guy that they're talking about, this Balthazar, they have him sweep in, clear room, and take them. Or possibly it could be like, I'm here to help, and he gets them on their side so that he can trick them, brainwash them, etc. And for the spoiler later, should I spoil this? Spoiler. Whenever Reva finds out that he's her dad, it's more of a conflict within her rather than, oh my gosh, this man's blood runs through mine. Maybe I'm just like him. Maybe he's controlled all of my actions. Like, no. Instead of it being like, Reva, I am your father, it'd be like, I love you. I manipulated you, but I might actually love you. I might actually care about you. So there's a dilemma there. And she's like, you know, that hesitation where it could possibly break the bond between her and her guys. Also, I don't like harems, but that could cause tension and drama and problems. And then once they get out, they stumble across the Shadowblood. So instead of the second book being so early, the second book could be last, and they stumble upon the actual shadow people. Shadowbloods, am I right saying that? I think it is. I think it's Shadowbloods. They come across that and they meet, I can't remember his name. They meet the guy, the horned guy. Then they learn about these monsters that they're supposed to deal with. Yeah. They can learn all about their mom and their whatever earlier, like they did in the first book. That's fine. But I think this would cause more tension and be more build up, and you realize, oh, this is bigger than we thought. And then there will be more dilemma when it comes to, my dad cared about me, maybe, question mark? Or these monsters that I was born to kill are being nice to me and helping. Sure, yeah, they can have the betrayal like they do in the last book or the book before or whatever. But I think that's how it should build up. And then the last book, I don't know, because I'm not there yet. That's how I feel like it should be. That's also my opinion. back to the actual book. This book, I feel like it's not as well written as even the first one. I feel like it's slowly getting not as good, and I feel like, I don't know, I do enjoy Eva Chase's writing. I do like the way that she writes, the way she portrays her characters. I love the depth. I love the choices. Maybe not the choices. I like the characters a lot. I enjoy them and they feel real, at least in the beginning. I enjoyed the guys actually having personalities and not just being a tool for the girl to, you know. So I did appreciate that. I do like that they are their own people and that they're not just there for eye candy. That being said, I feel like as the series goes on, they become more of that, and they're like, oh, I don't know, what does Riva think? Oh, I don't know, what does Riva think? Oh, I don't know, what does Riva say? No one else is coming up with ideas, basically. It's mainly just Riva. I know a few of them have their little moments, but they don't move unless Riva moves, and I feel like it's very Queen Bee, but it's very... I want some give and take, I guess. All in all, I was bored. I was struggling to get through it. That being said, I have struggled getting through this series, but this book in particular, I have one more book. I'm gonna read it. Hopefully there are things that get better because it's the last book. Things aren't so dragged out. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. Was this a review of the book? I don't know. I don't know if this is sufficient. I do like the creativity of the abilities and the little twist at the end where, spoiler, where they get to share and steal each other's abilities. I really like that a lot. That was really cool to see. That would have been really cool. I do like the pace in which that happened. So having that after meeting the Shadowbloods and all of that, having that there and the abilities happen in the fourth book is perfect with what I was recommending. But having that in the fourth book is great. That's a great development. In the fifth book, we get to see how that all plays out, hopefully. Oh, also, I'm sick and tired of needless deaths in these books. Like, we got children dying, we got the best sidekick characters dying, we got just deaths with no other thoughts to them. I don't care enough about these characters. I don't know what could be done to make me care more. I think just the plot being better would help. I don't know. Yeah, harems aren't for me. I don't like the I love all of you differently, but so much. You're all my soulmates. I don't like that. I don't. I can't. I'm like, no thanks. I don't like that. That's for some people, that ain't for me. So if you like that, go ahead, try this series, see if you like it. I will say the relationships between Riva and the guys individually, sweet, most of them. Still don't like Jacob. Stuff between Griffin is really sweet. I think the stuff with Zian that I've been saying wrong in my head, I liked his the best. Aside for the thing when it actually came together, but like, you know, it's so weird. He's like a werewolf. Back to another review. I have finished the Shadowblood Soul series. Let me read you the summary. I'm facing this way. We are blood, and so are they. ... Ow! We're finally free, and we intend to stay that way. But our most dangerous enemy has plans that could upend the entire world. To carry out those plans, he's making more like us. More people twisted into something monstrous and forced to serve his psychotic ends. My guys and I have to stop him. It is our only hope of getting the peace we've dreamed of for us and everyone else we've come to care about. But how can we fight when foes standing in our way are Shadowbloods just like us? Fearsome Dream is the final book in Shadowblood Souls, an urban fantasy series for those who love savagely possessive men and fierce heroines who will fight for what's theirs. And now for my thoughts. So, if you're into polyamory and obsessive guys or possessive guys and guys that are mean to the girl and then are nice again, this will be a good one for you. Not so much for me. I really do like the way Eva Chase writes. I like how in the first few books they did seem very their own characters, very much their own characters. But throughout the series, they seemed to get a little bit more muddy and they seemed to kind of mold into one another. I at first appreciated in the first two books, that the guys all felt like they were their own characters and they weren't there to be a plaything for Riva, the main character girl. And then in the fifth book, they kind of felt more like playthings or toys. That's also my opinion. I will, if you watch the other reviews of mine, I don't like spicy scenes. This one had a lot. I didn't like them. But that's not the reason I don't like this series. I can skim over that. I can skip it entirely and it won't ruin the plot. This plot fell so flat for me. I was so excited for the plot. I was so excited. I was like, okay, all right. You got these shadow creatures. Awesome. I want to see what they can do. We didn't really get to see what they could do. I kind of wanted to see them be... I wanted the shadow kind to be meaner. I wanted a reason to be torn between these two worlds colliding. But I wasn't. I told you how I would rework the series in the last one. And for the most part, yeah, it still stay the same. But the fifth book, first off, it felt really fast-paced. It felt really repetitive. One of the rules about telling a story is to never go back to the same place twice or revisit the same idea twice in a big way. It's something I struggled with, even with When Dead Men Bleed, because I was like, oh, with them going back to Sunny, like, would that be bad? Like, no, because they had to, and there were things that were happening and stuff like that. It was a different situation. It's not the same situation over and over. That being said, okay, throughout the books, they get free, they get captured, they get free, they get captured. What the frick? They're supposed to be super strong, but they keep getting subdued. And then they kill the big bad, right? Right. That is super fast. And then the kid Shadowbloods that they're trying to like save, I don't know how much time has passed because I guess I missed it, but these kids get brainwashed and they get a super buff to their powers, right? Like a boost, I mean. And then the kids are like, no, he made us more powerful, and they got like brainwashed by him, right? Except for like Ajax and the other kid that was Nadia's boyfriend that I can't think of the name of right now. And then they were like, those two plus one were like, we'll come with you. They had that situation with the kids. And they're like, oh, come with us. We're trying to help you. And the kids are like, no. And the kids who have not had as much time to hone their more powerful abilities get the drop on these, on these 6 Shadowbloods and several Shadowkind. Okay? They get the drop on them and they're able to get away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, all right, okay. Maybe it'll be fine. Because Reva's like, oh my gosh, I can't get through to them because there's people in the way. Like, your ability specifically paralyzes people. Like a group, a crowd of people. You can paralyze a crowd of people. Why not use that? It's like she forgot exactly what her powers do. And then all of them have exceptional powers. The telekinesis could have done something. And you know, the very, very end, they all are able to use all their powers and abilities for, like, they're able to use them correctly and properly, and they can't use it against a bunch of teenagers, and that bugs me. The kids get away. They don't have any major conversations with them, right? And then later, they're coming across, they like blockade them, and they get out of a car, and the kids are like, what are you doing here? And then they have a heart-to-heart and whatever, and then the kids leave again, and then they come back, and they're seeing all of these Shadowkind attacking the world. And what do they go do? Instead of researching where these are going, maybe looking through the footage, seeing if they recognize any faces, see if they blah, blah, especially now because they can share powers and because they can pinpoint specific people that they're looking for as long as they're familiar with them. Like, it's a sending message, but like pinpointing on a map, like, there's so much potential there. There's so much. You could do so much with that. You could be so creative with what's going on and what's happening, but instead they're off inside each other. I don't know. And none of the guys seem to have anything important to contribute to ideas or anything. And it's all about Reva. Reva is like, okay, we have to do this. And she's at the head of it all. And like, everyone's waiting for her to come up with this brilliant idea. Why can't the guys chime in? Why can't the Shadowkind that are helping them now, why can't they chime in? I know I'm getting really worked up about this, but it could have been so good. All of this. I feel like it should have been a trilogy. It should not have been 5 books. And it was like, get out of each other. Also, in one of the books, Balthazar, the guy, the big bad, he's like, oh yeah, y'all can have a date. At what point do you let your captives go out on a date? At one point, Rolik, I think that's his name, I'm probably wrong. He's like, oh, you guys, you have had so much happen to you. You've had so many bad things in your life. You need time to relax. Go get inside each other. Like, As if they aren't doing that every night whenever they get the chance. Why do they need relaxation? They're giving each other massages every night, basically. Like, another thing is they're always in the lap of luxury. They're roughing it, and then they end up in a place with a bathtub big enough for 5 guys in Riva, or 4 guys in Riva. Hold on, how many? 5 guys? 5 guys in Riva, all 6 of them to fit, with a bed, a huge one. Like, and electricity's still on. They aren't even treated that bad. Like, what? They made you kill a few bunnies and a cat, and now you're like, oh my gosh. No, hypo. I was looking at me like I'm crazy. They're living in these gorgeous mansions. They're practically getting everything handed to them, but they're trapped in it. Yeah, they're trapped. But they are humans / monsters with supernatural abilities that they cannot control, especially Jacob. And, you know, I know that they're being used, but also, like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like their situation was bad enough to render the kind of things that happened or that they did. If you want to sell me that they've had a bad life, sell me that they have had a bad life. You know, if they're out in the jungle, don't make them go into a hotel that's solar powered that still has electricity, but it's abandoned. Have them stick it out in the woods. If they want to do it out in the woods, go do it out in the woods. But I don't know. Everything is kind of handed to them, and they're like, oh my gosh, life is so bad. You're living in a mansion. Yeah, you got manacles around you, and a kid died needlessly, but you know, you got food and a roof. A lot of people don't have that. You don't want to be trapped? Okay. Use your powers and don't forget what they do. I don't know. This whole series, I was so excited for it. It had so much potential. I feel so bad talking about it like this, but I'm just, oh my goodness. I really hope that her other books aren't like this, because I do have one that I want to read. Ugh. I like the way Eva Chase writes. I really do. I really love it. It's really nice. It's refreshing. It's good. It's just, I guess this series is so, it needed reworking. It needed tightening. I don't know. Just needed tuning. Like strings on a guitar, I guess. Could have been so good, but it felt so flat. Felt so flat. Give me more plot and less spice, please. That's all I ask for. Even that, just give me more plot, and I can skip over all the spice. Don't worry about it. I'll take the flour. I can just go. I'm not gonna read the flour. It's fine. I can look past all that as long as the plot is good. And it would have been, but well flat. Anyway, if any of this seems like something you would enjoy, don't take my word for it. Go check it out. See if you like it. There are a lot of 5 stars on these reviews. I just did not think it was worthy of it. So if you were interested in this series, this kind of book, I guess this is always also a series review as a whole, go ahead and check it out. It does have a happily ever after ending, so you do not get a bad ending or cliffhanger. I did also, let me just add this, I did like the ending. I guess I won't spoil it for you, but it is a happily ever after ending. And there's also a little bit of a teaser for her next series, or the series after this, which I did think about reading, but after reading this and then reading the little blurb about it, I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe I don't want to read it. But yes, description, links in the bottom. Hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for the rant. I don't usually rant like this about books, because I try to spin it positive. I try to be like, okay, but all this, but this got me fired up. It got me heated. I just want to be over with the past 3 books. Okay, I finished them though. I finished the series. Look at me. I finished my first series of the year. So that's good. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go before this gets a little too long, because it's been a little long, like already. So, thanks for watching. Adios.